The naval battle of the Albrolhos took place on 12 September 1631 off the coast of Bahia, Brazil, during the 80 Years' War. A joint Spanish-Portuguese fleet under Admiral Oquendo defeated the Dutch after a 6-hour naval battle. Background: on 5 May 1631, Spanish Admiral Oquendo left Lisbon with a fleet of about 20 men of war. He carried reinforcements to Paraíba, Pernambuco and Bahia. On his way back to Portugal, he was to convoy ships loaded with sugar. So as to allow the Dutch extra time to get ready, he headed first for Bahia. Once the Dutch learned of his coming, the fleet in Pernambuco, led by Admiral Adrian Pater, sailed to intercept the Spanish convoy. Despite Pater had 33 ships at Pernambuco, he left 17 in port as he considered only 8 of Oquendo's to be battle-worthy. Finally, on September 12, the two fleets met around the Cays. Ships involved: de Oquendo exited Bahia de Todos Santos with his 44-gun, 900-ton flagship Santiago de Relista and 28-gun, 700-ton vice-flagship San Antonio, 30-gun Nuestra Señora de la Concepción, 28-gun Nuestra Señora del Buen Suceso, 26-gun Nuestra Señora de la Anunciada, 24-gun San Carlos, 22-gun San Buenaventura, 20-gun San Blas, San Francisco and San Pedro, 18-gun San Bartolomé, and San Martin, plus the requisitioned French pinnaces Lion d'Or of 10 guns, and Saint Pierre of 8 guns. These Spanish men of war are accompanied by the 28-gun Portuguese warship São Jorge, 20-gun Santiago, 19-gun São João Baptista, 18-gun Nossa Senhora dos Prazeres, and Nossa Senhora dos Prazeres, plus the unarmed Nossa Senhora da Boa Nova, Nossa Senhora do Rosário, Santo Antonio, Santa Cruz, and São Geronimo. This force was protecting 10 unarmed Brazilian caravels, sparing 1,200 troops under the Neapolitan-born CMDR. Giovanni Vincenzo de San Felice, Conde de Bagnoli, intended to reinforce the town of Paraíba in addition to 20 Lisbon-bound sugar merchantmen, standing away from the coast. The entire formation was driven southeast by contrary winds and currents into the vicinity of the Albrolhos off Brazil at about 18 degrees south latitude. Their name deriving from the Portuguese phrase, Albrolhos, eyes open, intended as a warning of the half-submerged dangers. On the evening of the 11th of September, the Iberian fleet was sighted by Admiral Pater, who prepared for action overnight. During Pater's voyage, 2 of his ships became separated, leaving the Dutch admiral with his 46-gun, 1,000-ton flagship of the Dutch fleet Prins Willem and 50-gun, 800-ton vice-flagship Geneer de Provinciën, 38-gun Provincial Utrecht, 34-gun Walcheren, 32-gun Griffin, and Groningen, 30-gun Hollandia, and Oliphant, 28-gun Amersfoort, and Goeree, 26-gun Mercurius, 24-gun Dordrecht, 22-gun Medemblik, 20-gun Fortuin, and Wapen van Hoorn, plus 14-gun NIEW Nederland. Battle. At first light, the admiral summoned his captains for final instructions, then drank a toast of Brunswick beer to the day's success. The Dutch Admiral Pater had formed his fleet in 2 lines. Its place was taken by the much larger Concepcion of Captain Juan de Prado. Pater bore down in faint east-northeasterly breezes upon de Oquendo, who was 10 kilometers distant. Have ordered his 17 Spanish and Portuguese galleons to interpose in a half-moon crescent between the enemy and the convoy. Anunciada, Buenaventura, San Carlos, and San Bartolomé lag astern. Fighting began around mid-morning, when Vice Admiral de Vallecillas San Antonio opened fire on Thijssen's advancing Geneer de Provinciën, which closed into board along with Provincial Utrecht. About 15 minutes later, de Oquendo and 4 other galleons opened fire on Pater's flagship. which steered directly towards Santiago de Elista with Walcheren. The Dutch held their opening broadsides until point-blank range, then fired and grappled. A murderous engagement erupted around each flag's HP and vice flag, both sides firing repeatedly into their opponents and yet unable to board. The smallest Portuguese galleon, Nossa Senhora dos Praises of Captain Cosmoducão de Barbosa, attempted to support Santiago de Elista, only to drift helplessly beneath the combined guns of Prince Willem and Walcheren and be sunk. Its place was taken by the much larger Concepcion of Captain Juan de Prado. Eventually, about 4 p.m., a chance shot from de Oquendo's flagship started a blaze aboard Prince Willem, which the Spanish admiral cleverly directed his musketeers to fire at, so as to hamper Dutch firefighting efforts. The flames gained hold and finally drove Pater into the water, along with a few survivors, where he drowned. About this same time, de Valicilla's vice flag, San Antonio, broke up and went down by its stern, taking most of the complement. Its Dutch foe Provincial Utrecht was sheared off in flames and later sunk. Thijssen's Geenier de Provinciën was battered but in possession of a single prize, Buenaventura of Captain Alonso de Alarcón y Molina, who had sailed to San Antonio's side during the fighting, only to lose his life and ship. The remaining Dutch vessels were content to fire from long-range Hollandier, Amersfoort and Fortuyn being the only others to become closely engaged, while the Spaniards responded in kind. Aftermath. The day ended in a Spanish victory, although depending on the sources, Spanish losses may have been somewhat greater. According to David Marley, a vice flagship and galleon were sunk and another was taken, with 585 dead and missing plus 201 wounded. The Dutch flagship and another man-of-war disappeared beneath the waves, leaving 350 dead and missing plus more than 80 seriously wounded. According to Miguel Esquerda Galeana, the Dutch fleet lost 2,000 men and 3 galleons. Thijssen showed no inclination to renew action the next day, preferring to limp back to Recife with his mauled fleet on 21–22 September. De Oquendo meanwhile deposited his reinforcements at Barra Grande of Porto Calvo. Only 700 of them actually reached Fort Arraial do Bom Jesus before continuing toward Europe with his sugar convoy. The Dutch garrison at Pernambuco subsequently evacuated Olinda in November in order to concentrate its strength around Recife.